Perfect. All right, guys. So today's webinar, I'm going to do one today on trading star patterns. I'm going to try to keep this. You guys know I rant a lot and go on and talk for a while. I'm going to try to keep this one under an hour because we're going to build on basically the webinars we've been talking about and what I've been teaching the past few days. Just to give you guys a quick recap, if you have not seen the videos I've been doing, if you go to our Bullish Bears YouTube channel, just type in Bullish Bears, you'll see down here I did flags, how to trade bull flag and bear flag patterns, riding the 9 EMA, or if you don't want to trade using the 9 EMA, you can use it in conjunction with the other videos. You can remove the moving average lines and just trade with trend lines. Again, whether you like trend lines, let me rephrase that. Whether you like moving average lines or not, it's fine. You can still, trend lines are still super important, whether you're doing moving average lines or no moving average lines. Yesterday, we talked about reversal patterns. So reversal patterns are, let's go into our ebook. So our ebook rate over, where is it? So right here, here's our Candlesticks ebook. Let's go take a look what I was showing you guys yesterday. And I think this stuff's going to really start popping out at you if you're kind of new and you're, just kind of following along, right? So candlesticks, most important indicator when trading, right? Hands down, price action is key. Every time someone buys and sells a stock in the world, whether you're a fundamental trader or a technical trader, you leave a clue on the charts. Those clues are candlesticks. Those candlesticks help you to find support resistance levels so you could buy low, sell high, or sell high if you're shorting, buy low to cover, right? All the other indicators, moving average lines, they're all lagging indicators. They kind of run off of price action. Price action is key. You have to learn candlesticks. Super important, all right? So our ebook, like I was showing you guys yesterday, these are spinning top candles. Remember, there's two types of candlesticks. There's bullish candlesticks. Actually, I could say probably three. Bullish candlesticks, bearish candlesticks, and then basically indecision candlesticks, right? So spinning tops, what I wanted to kind of just build off of from yesterday is spinning tops are reversals many times, but they're also consolidation candles, right? So it doesn't mean when you see a spinning top that it's just going to go either up or down price action. It could trade sideways or consolidate. You can see it forms, many times in flag patterns. So if you look at, picture this was, you see how this is rising. This would actually probably be part of a bear flag. If you flip it the other way and it started falling this way, that would be, making up part of a bull flag, right? So these candlesticks, these smaller indecision candlesticks, very important because they form either consolidation or reversals, right? So now kind of just going back up again as a review, you'll see a high wave candle is basically a larger version of the spinning tops, just higher wicks and shadows. They're nasty looking candles. You want to try to avoid spinning tops like the plague. They're very difficult to trade. Long-legged dojis, they also become a little bit more difficult to trade because of, again, you ideally want to trade off of small candlesticks, right? You want to minimize your risk. Smaller candlesticks, the better. Doesn't mean don't trade larger ones. Just remember, it's very important to know what you're risking when you're entering a trade. You'll see here's a doji, which is a smaller version basically of the long-legged doji, right? And then you see the gravestone doji. Again, I'm not going to go into all of these, but you see they're all telling a very similar story, right? Smaller bodied candles, got the wicks and the shadows. It's showing either indecision or basically reversals. So that being said, again, here's our Candlesticks ebook. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can download it over at bullishbears.com. You can start your free membership here. We'll send it to you via email, right? Or if you're logged in, you could just go right over here to our courses right here and our candlestick courses and download our ebook. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to, again, kind of just because we're building on this series, we're going to talk about, kind of go over the same charts that we're kind of looking at the past few days. So it kind of builds and progresses and helps you kind of get more of that visual. I like to kind of just drill in. Repetition is the key. So actually, let's take a step back before I go to the charts and go to our reversals wallpaper, right? So you're going to notice, this is where I want to say, don't get bogged down in the minutia of things, because many of times, you know, something will look like something, but it's also something else, but it's telling the same story, right? A bull flag and a pennant, it's telling the same story. One looks like a wedge, one looks like a pennant. Still telling you the same story, right? So when we look at star patterns, let me go back over and show you the chart again. A star pattern is, picture a bullish candlestick, or sometimes it's a bearish candlestick in an uptrend. So it's a 2 candlestick setup. It's either bearish or showing potentially bearish reversal, and it's also potentially bullish reversal, right? We're going to go over into that in a moment. But star patterns are a 2 candlestick pattern, which lead to a third candlestick reversal pattern, which is either morning star or evening star. The star pattern gives you a clue to the potential morning star or evening star pattern. Evening star patterns happen in uptrends for the reversal down, and morning stars happen in a downtrend for a reversal up. So before we look at this again, I want to draw your attention right here to 2 candlesticks, right? You have a bullish candlestick up, and then you have a doji. This could be a spinning top. It could be a doji. Sometimes you'll see a candlestick like this up there instead. You can say, well, that's not really a star. It's got a bigger real body. Well, again, many times it's telling the same story. So that's where I'm saying, in an uptrend, when you see like a smaller real body or a smaller candlestick or an indecision candlestick up there, it's showing you of a potential reversal. Again, evening star, potential reversal down, morning star, potential reversal up. So you can catch the reversal many a time with the 2 candlesticks, pattern with the star together before the morning star or evening star happens. We're going to talk about how to trade them today. So we're going to focus in right over here, morning star pattern, evening star pattern. These wallpapers are part of our ebook. We'll give them to you when you opt in for free or whatever. Just go to our website. So orange candlesticks we have as bearish, blue candlesticks we have as bullish. I know it's not your typical colors. We just like to be artistic, and that's how we work, right? So again, don't get too concerned about the coloring and all of that. Just think of it's a 3 candlestick pattern. So in a morning star, you'll see price is in a downtrend where it's falling. You get a smaller candlestick that's kind of further away from the bearish one. Sometimes this will be a bullish candlestick in a downtrend. So again, don't get kind of caught up in it. Just picture, again, price is falling, smaller candlestick reversal. This and this makes up a star pattern. And then you get the third candlestick, which completes the morning star. Like good morning, let's rise and shine. Oh, that's a good analogy. I was thinking about evening star is like good night. So like good night is see you later, good night, it's going to sleep, that stock, right? It's going to fall or pull back. So evening star is like good night, going to drop. Morning stars, wake up, let's go, right? Now for some people that are not morning people, they might have a different analogy. But anyways, so you have the third candlestick complete here, and here's the entry and exit. You would get in the break above this third candle, and then use a candle close below this as your stop for a morning star pattern, right? For an evening star pattern, you'll see the 3 candles complete, right here. I'm going to show you real world examples in a few moments. You would take a short position below the break of this third candle, candlestick close above as your stop. Okay, so that's the 3 candlestick reversal. So it's morning star, evening star. Just pay attention. So if you miss the star pattern, right, it's ideally you'd love to risk after when I was showing you guys yesterday off reversals, right, the smaller candlesticks. Ideally, you'd love to catch it on the star pattern right here and get in the break of this smaller candlestick close below this as your stop. Or on an evening star, short below this small candlestick close above your stock, or above this small candle as your stop, right? So ideally, you'd like to risk off the smaller candlesticks, right? But if you miss it, here again, it goes into the third candlestick right here, a third candlestick, which is part of the, again, morning star, evening star. Let me draw your attention to something else. I'm not going to get into it, but kind of give you a clue as to something we'll start to getting into, a little bit later. The Harami patterns and engulfing patterns many times they're telling the same story, just the candlestick placement is a little different. So you'll see when you kind of put this together, give you kind of a clue. I'm going to do another webinar on basically probably haramis and engulfings, but you'll see smaller candlestick within the body over here. Harami means pregnant in Japanese, right? So you'll see this smaller candlestick is inside. So picture a woman's belly, a baby inside her belly, and then that's, a 2 candlestick reversal up. So this is not a morning star, but you see how it's telling the same story? The candle down here, is not wrapped up inside this candle, but it's still telling you the same story, right? Potential bullish move up, potential bullish move up. Bearish Harami, this one's not a perfect one. This candle should be kind of wrapped up inside here, but again, candlesticks are not perfect. And again, this is, kind of a different, the belly would be down here, but again, just Harami still telling you the same thing right here, that it's a reversal down, right? So it's a kind of a smaller candlestick usually inside of the bullish candlestick, telling you the story that it's going down. Same thing as what the evening star is doing. It's just a kind of a smaller candlestick. This is sometimes a little bit bigger, but you see how it's telling you the same story. And then bearish engulfing, same thing. It's just bearish engulfing. If you look at it, it's just the opposite. The engulfing patterns are just kind of the opposite of haramis. So if you notice this, they're all telling you the same similar story. And then when you look over here in these patterns, the 3 patterns, you'll see a 3 inside up has a bullish harami inside of it. The 3 inside down has a bearish harami inside of it. The 3 outside up has a bullish engulfing pattern in it. The bearish, or the 3 outside down, has a bearish engulfing. I'm going on more of my rants right now. I'm trying to, I'll see if I can make this video under an hour, but this is important, guys, right? This is important stuff. If you could put it all together, this is trading, right? So we're going to focus in on morning stars, but give you a clue on the other videos when you start to watch them, that they're telling you the same basic story. So don't get caught up like, oh, is that an evening star? Is it a bullish engulfing? Is it a bearish engulfing? Try to understand what the candlesticks are showing you. Remember, you want to put it together with the trend lines, which is so important. And then if you like moving average lines too, it's it's helpful guide to keep an eye on. But you don't need moving average lines the more you go along. So sometimes, you might have moving average lines on another chart and trade with a clean chart, or you might trade with moving average lines. Again, there's not really a right or wrong way to do it. It's a matter of your preference. So, star pattern. Typically with a star pattern in an uptrend, this is typically telling you warning to the downside, right? So kind of just put together again, we're going to do the trend lines, connect as many peaks and valleys as possible. Here's a valley. Here's a couple of valleys here, and then here's a peak right up over here. Here's a peak kind of going back over here. You can see this is kind of a rising wedge pattern. As I was showing you guys, again, connect some valleys over here, right? So some valleys down in here. You'll see, guys, this is basically a big bear flag or a kind of a rising wedge pattern telling you the same similar story. So price falls, goes in an uptrend. Remember what we talked about yesterday. Be aware of the potential reversals when price hits resistance and when it hits support, right? So we talked about star patterns yesterday, but repetition is the key. So what you would do is you would look at this small little candlestick right here, and you would say, okay, typically with this star pattern, when it's hitting resistance, so typically this would be a potential short setup. So you would technically take a short below this star pattern if price falls below this candle, and then use a candle close above that as your stop. Does that make sense? If price breaks out, so typically it's a bearish pattern, but remember, candlestick patterns fail all the time. They happen, it's more, the odds are more in your favor that it's going to drop on a pattern like this. But, you know, again, price, things fool you. This could break out and then turn into a V bottom pattern and go up. We got to watch and see. So if price breaks out of this and holds this area, then you could potentially go long using a candle close below this or above this trend line as your stop. Again, I'm not going to go into that stuff more. I went over trend lines, but pay attention. This is a warning sign to a potential evening star pattern. The third candlestick has not formed yet. We have to watch for it, right? So that's why people ask, what's the stock market going to do come Monday when it opens? I don't know, right? I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what news is going to come out. I don't know if there's going to be good news or bad news. What I want to do is I want to look at price action. I want to see if price starts to fail this doji candle here and stays below this red line and confirms, then I would take a potential short, and then I would look at these areas down here as support to potentially cover my position, right? If it fails support here, then I can potentially stay in, you know, for the continuation downwards. But price may break out, and then this may be a potential long, right? And you can see, guys, look at the moving average lines, the 9 and the 20. This is where moving average lines are not foolproof, but many times they give you a very important guide. If those start to cross, who the heck knows? This might do some consolidation back, hold, maybe it'll go up or trade sideways, and maybe it'll form a flag over here and break out, right? We don't know. That's what we have to watch. We don't go off of speculation. We go off of the charts, because charts help you to mitigate your risk, give you proper entries and exits. Yes, Manny, this is a chart of the SPY. So I'm going to show you guys too. I'm going to show you several examples on the SPY, and then I'm going to show you the ones on some smaller cap stocks as well. So you can take what I'm showing you on, again, the SPY on a daily chart, and then we can drill in with day trading and looking at penny stocks and 1 minute charts. It'll really help you to kind of put it all together. So that's the star pattern, right? Just picture the same thing happens in a downtrend too, right? So if you'll see right here, this has a picture of these two candles here. Don't look at the three together. You see how price is falling? Smaller little kind of a doji or a gravestone doji pattern here. That's a star pattern of a warning. This is going to potentially reverse to the upside. And many of times, guys, you'll see these morning and evening star patterns happen right around moving average lines, right? You know, or right at resistance levels of angular support and resistance levels, and also moving average lines. Very, very important, right? So they're not always going to be huge candlesticks on the way up or on the way down either. So this is where sometimes you'll see when you go to this evening star. Remember I was telling you guys, right? Go back to the videos. Here's a monthly of the chart of the SPY, which I've been showing you guys. Remember, I keep telling you over and over. This candle warned everybody on a monthly to get the heck out. I've been drilling it home, paying attention. Look at that candle. Look at that candle. Look at that candle. Scary candle. Why did brokerage firms allow, you know, financial advisors allow their clients to lose 30% of their 401k? That should never happen. The candle warned you. Candle warned you, right? Well, when we go back to the daily, look, we're going to zoom in and say, you want to know how it warned you even sooner than that monthly candle? Look at these consolidation candles like I've been showing you guys, right? These smaller kind of dojis, spinning tops. Don't get bogged down in the minutia. Don't say, is that a gravestone? Is that a spinning top? What is it? I can't really tell. It's telling you the same story. It's consolidation. It's indecision. Price was at all-time highs. So if you look here, price is at all-time highs. Indecision, you know, so what, you know, at, when was this? February? Going into an election year, market at all-time highs. It's got to choose a direction, right? This is where it's telling you warning. But on the way up, look, right here, there was a hammer. This is a nice flag that I was showing you guys. But just because there's a nice flag and it might break out, remember, support and resistance is key. There's no all-time highs up here to be aware of. So just because something looks like it might be a great play, it may not be. That's where you have to look at the candles. You don't see a huge one that breaks out here. It's another indecision candle. So you're like, uh-oh, something might happen here because it didn't break out. So this is a green kind of bullish hammer. Now you have kind of a indecision smaller candle, star pattern, warning you, hey, we might want to reverse down, right? Or price action might want to reverse. Then you have this bearish candle. That's a big warning, guys. That is an evening star pattern. It doesn't necessarily have to have big candles. Sometimes you will have big candles. Sometimes you'll have small candles. But remember what's happening here. All-time highs, doesn't break out. And right here. So now you can see if you, now again, you could have taken a potential short down here, but it also may have been risky because you're like, hey, this is a bullish candlestick. I don't know what's going to happen there. So maybe you waited to see direction. And then here's what you would have done on that third candlestick, right? Just go back to what I was showing you guys over here on an evening star. On the third candlestick, you take a short below this candlestick, close above as your stop, or you do a bearish, option strategy if you don't have short or you don't want to short, right? So candlestick close below this, or break below this candle as your short, which is right over in here, and you see it started to peak, started to creep down over here, and then it dropped. And look, guys, this stuff is happening right at the moving average lines. And as this is starting to happen, you can see a cross on that 9 and 20 happening. So if you were looking at this starting to curl down, you took a short below this candle, a candle close above as your stop, and then, guys, look, boom, falls down, bear flag. Now that's where you could take the, hey, I'll ride the 9. So maybe you would have covered here. And then maybe you would have took another short, below this bear flag on the way down and cover down here, right? But this is the warning sign. So this is what I was trying to tell you guys. There's clues, the warnings, it's there. It shows you on the charts. You have to be able to just zone in and learn this stuff. And that's why it boggles my mind that financial advisors allow their clients many of time to lose 30% of their 401k because the clues are right here. Hey, maybe you don't be risky. Here's an evening star pattern. This is a star pattern. This candle is a warning like this one up here. It's at resistance, but I don't know what's going to happen. What I want to do is see if it's going to fail or if it's going to break out. I'm not going to guess. I'm going to look at price action to determine it, right? Down here, so those are evening star. Here's a morning star pattern. Price is falling. You get kind of a spinning top candle. It's not perfect, but you see this is a smaller candle that's below this bearish candle. And then you could, it's not a great star pattern. I like a little bit better candles and stuff, but if you were to go long off this star pattern, you could have gotten in at the break of this candle, close below this as your stop, and then, ride it up, just again, depending on when you're going to take profit, all that stuff, right? But here's the evening, here's the morning. So that's the star. The morning star is this 3 pattern setup right here, which is what I was showing you guys here. 1, 2, 3. Entry above the top of this, the high of this candle, close below that as your stop. What do I look right here and show you guys? Right above this candle, you see it, price gaps up. You would use a candle, a break above this candle as your entry, close above this as your stop. Look what it does. It breaks out. And then now you got to decide, right? Are you going to take profit? Are you going to wait? That's up to you, right? Candlesticks, you see it's very messy and crazy stuff going on right here. But as you can see, price is now hitting resistance. So it moves up. Here's kind of a peak in here, and it's struggling. So you might want to say, okay, maybe I'll take some profit. Look, it's struggling right at this 20 EMA. It's hitting that resistance, that ceiling level with angular resistance. So what's it want to do? It wants to gravitate back, and you can see these spinning tops in these indecision candles. This is, again, I'm not going to go into patterns, but I have to show it to you. This is a bearish harami. Screw it, I'm going to show it to you. Bearish harami. Bullish candlestick up, smaller candlestick inside of the body. What I was telling you guys, bearish harami. kind of like this, right? Bullish candlestick, smaller one inside of it, reversal to the downside. Remember I was telling you bullish harami, bigger candlestick, smaller one inside of it. What do you guys see here? Smaller red candlestick inside of a bullish one, reversal down. Look at this right here. Guys, man, this is so good. I'm getting ahead of the game. This is going to be longer than an hour, but bullish harami. Bullish harami. Actually, my fault. This is a bearish harami right here. This is a bullish harami right here. So, but some of them, they tell a different story. So sometimes it's not always like, it's not perfect. You see, this is happening at resistance. This is happening at support. And what happened up here, this is kind of a bullish harami pattern as well. There's a green candlestick inside of this red one. But you guys see how sometimes it's not always going to be perfect. You're like, oh, this should be a red candlestick. This should be a green one. Doesn't always happen that way, right? I mean, candles have a different color, many times different colors, but they're telling the same story. This is happening at support. This is happening at resistance. This is a bullish harami pattern at resistance, right? That's kind of interesting. Candles are nuts, and now it's hitting resistance again. All right. So I just kind of went on a tangent on haramis, but we'll do more. I'm going to show you guys more of that. But you guys can see though, right? They're smaller candlesticks, smaller candlesticks, smaller candlesticks, kind of a smaller one happening near resistance levels, support levels, resistance levels. And then it happens many of times up here, right? At moving average lines. Support, resistance, patterns. So that's the evening star, right? You take a short on this third candle when price falls below it, candle close above that as your stop. Morning star, when the three reverse like this, you would take a potential entry above as your entry, and close below as your stop. Sometimes it's you got to be careful though, because of the risk. Sometimes you might take it near, resistance levels. You have to be aware of that stuff, right? Because sometimes taking an entry right here, you might get smacked around as it's hitting a resistance, right? It's hitting that 9 EMA and it's going between the 9 and the 20. So that's evening star, morning star. We're going to show you several other examples here. Let me show you an example of a failure. Here's an evening star pattern. You can see, guys, there's a wall of kind of resistance, kind of this line up here. You can see a bearish candle. Beautiful looking star or a gravestone or an inverted hammer right here. And where did it happen? Right between the moving average lines, right above the 50. This is a star pattern. Now, if you got in at above this star, this second candle, you could have got in the break of this candle here and used a candle close below. Let's, I'm going to remove some of these lines. So there's a lot to look at. So sorry, guys. And I'll answer more of your questions at the end, guys. I know I'm trying to make this under an hour. I don't think I'll be able to, but okay. So ideal with a star pattern, if you caught it on the star, you would get in on the break above this candle to go long with a candlestick close below this as your stop. But remember, guys, these moving average lines and up here is resistance, right? So you'll see it moved up, smacked around. If you got an entry off this star pattern, you would have been out right over on this red one that rejected. You would have made probably a little bit of profit, but you see it failed resistance, and that would have been your warning to get out. Now, here's a perfect example of how patterns fail and they trick you, right? And there's false breakouts. Very important to pay attention to what I'm about to show you, because just because you think something's going to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. You'll see right here I have evening star failure. Let me remove that. Let's remove this bubble, and you'll see if you waited for the break of this third candle for your entry, candlestick, what the heck happened? Candlestick close below this candle as your stop. Remember, just go back. Repetition is the key. Morning star, break above the third candle, candlestick close below as your stop. Go over here. What happened? Let me remove. Man, I got so many drawings. My brain is. Oh, okay, here it is over here. Where is it? Where the heck was I looking at? Oh, right here. Let me remove this drawing. So you can see, guys, see this red candle? Look at that. It just creeped above that green candle right there. And what did it do? It fake out and it fell. So this is where many times you would get in the break of this, but also you have to remember these moving average lines are kind of trading down and sideways. You have to know trend lines as well, because so this is where you could get faked out if you just looked at candles and said, oh, I'm going to get in there, and then look, it reversed and fell. And if you waited for a candlestick close below this as your stop, you're taking a loss over here. So you may have wanted to consider getting out over here or not traded it at all. You could have said, well, I didn't, how am I supposed to know that stuff? Well, again, go back to trend lines, right? And if we kind of just kind of drew them like this, right? Connect the peaks, kind of connect the valleys, you'll see on that morning star, it went up and it rejected angular resistance. So it hit that ceiling and it failed. You guys see that? Very, very important stuff. No, evening star evening star patterns mean price will drop in the evening. No, it just means it's going to drop. The wallpapers on our website are, number one, if you are a free member, you have to register at least for a free member here. We'll send it in your email. If you're a paid or registered member, just log into your account here and you'll see them right under courses and under both our candlestick patterns right here. You'll see a tab that says ebook, or check your welcome email. All right, so that's an example of a failed evening star pattern. So that's why just because something looks like something doesn't mean you necessarily trade it. You have to see the other patterns and you have to put it together with trend lines. Remember, how do you connect trend lines again? Just kind of as I was showing you guys, connect as many valleys, connect as many peaks, right? Connect as many valleys, right? I'm connecting the valleys, these support levels, right? And then I'm connecting peaks. There's some peaks right here. Peak, peak, peak down over in here, or even down over here, right? So I'm connecting these peaks on the way down like this. Again, watch our other videos on trend lines. All right, let's go. Here we go. Morning star. Beautiful looking morning star pattern. Bearish candlestick. Look at that gorgeous looking green hammer right there. That's a beautiful pattern. Ideally, you'd like to catch it, if you could, right here on the star pattern, right? Beautiful looking hammer. Take a long above that green hammer, candlestick close below it as your stop, and look, you could ride that baby up. That's on a 2 candlestick pattern, but this is, I'm showing you guys a morning. So that's the star. Price falls, kind of a doji hammer, spinning top, whatever, it shows here. This is a beautiful looking hammer right above the 50 SMA. And then bam, right over here, here's where you get the entry on a morning star. Candlestick close above that as your entry, candlestick close below as your stop. As you guys can see, look, price had the little red hammer kind of creeped up, retested. Sometimes you can get shook out and like, oh man, that's scary, maybe I'll get out. And then boom, kind of price broke out after that. That's where you got to decide, obviously you'd like to get in above that hammer at the star pattern before it goes to morning star. But if you get in on the morning star, you're still getting in. See, they're smaller candlesticks. That's what you want, guys. The smaller looking candlesticks. When you get over here, this is big. This is very, very, the risk is bigger, right? Bigger candlesticks. More risk, more reward. Right? It's like picture this almost like a low float stock. When everybody's staring at it, it's a lot bigger of a risk. You want to get that low float stock ideally as you get a little flag before it breaks out, right? And it's hard to find low floaters that ride the moving average line like this, but this is the beautiful stuff you're looking for, just like this. And then being aware of, so that was the morning star, kind of going back over here. Evening star, Remember, guys, I told you stocks like rubber bands, as it moves away from these moving average lines, it naturally wants to gravitate back. But also you have to be aware of, look, there's peaks over here, right? See the peaks over here? Remember they extend out to the future? Guess what happened? Price moves up. Star pattern. This is a warning, 2 candlestick pattern. Warning that it's not breaking these previous highs. It might want to come back down. What does it do? It does. It starts to come back down. These are warning candles. If you're bullish, you'd like to see this price break out, get above this level, and hold. You'd like to see the moving average lines kind of move up like this and price start to move up and then continue. You know, remember, connect peaks and valleys. You'd like to see it, price go up, break out, and continue out. You know, that's what you'd like to see if you're bullish. But what did it do? It failed the trend line. And then what did it do, right? Remember I was telling you guys, connect the many peaks and valleys again. You know, it starts kind of falling and going in a downtrend. Because what happened was price rejected at resistance, and then it started to fail support levels. So again, how you would trade something like this. Now, it doesn't mean you always trade something like this. It's also risky, right? So you say, oh, I should have shorted that. Well, not necessarily, because there's other patterns that you might see here that you could say, oh, this might be a cup and handle, which is typically a bullish position. So you might not want to short. It's kind of closer to the moving average lines. You might not want to short. You'd actually probably looking to stay long on this, you know? So that's why just because you see a pattern doesn't mean you always trade it. So over here, this is a really nice, beautiful looking morning star pattern, but ideally, here's the star. Price is falling, kind of that indecision candle. Ideally, on the star pattern, you'd like to get in and go long above the break of that doji candle and take it long, candlestick close below as your stop. And you would probably consider taking your profits right out here. Why? Small indecision candle right below the 50 SMA. And what did it do? It kind of pulled back, right? So go long, maybe consider taking your profits. When price is caught between those moving average lines and you have the indecision, that makes it a lot more difficult to trade. You know, kind of going back over here again. Evening star pattern, right? Small or green, small little green candle, small red one, pulls right back down. Beautiful looking morning star pattern right over here. Kind of a couple red candlesticks right here. Green candlestick. You go potentially long above that candle. Candlestick close below as your stop. Go long above this one. Candlestick close below that as your stop. You're seeing the 9 EMA starting to pinch and go up, right? So it's a start. Again, you have to be aware of, you can see resistance levels, right? You can see the consolidation, the indecision right around that 50 SMA. What can you do though? You know, as you got your entry, if you don't want to use moving average lines, draw your trend lines, right? Price is moving up. That's a warning sign. Remember that big shooting star candle I showed you on the monthly of the SPY? That's a warning right there. And where is it happening? Right above the 50 SMA, that pink line. What's it do? It fails the trend line here. So this is where you might consider, if you got in down here, maybe you get the heck out here. Or you might say, hey, I might stay in because there's consolidation back to the moving average lines. And what does that do? It formed basically a flag. And then it continued. And then maybe you would have considered getting out over here, or maybe you would have decided to kind of ride the 9 moving average line. Ideally, it gets a little difficult at times because sometimes these moving average lines will trade kind of sideways. You like to see them choose a trend like up or down, but again, that's a stock market. It's over and over, you know, all different time frames. So that's the SPY. Let's see how much I can get into with the other ones right now. I know that's pretty in-depth. Is that helping you guys right now so far before I get into the other ones? Maybe I'll shoot for a goal to make this one under an hour and a half. I just want to make sure that, thank you very much, Manny. I appreciate it. I want this to hit you guys because as we build and we go to the Harami patterns, the engulfing patterns, Also remember, guys, you know, I got to show it to you because it's very important. These patterns are also what make up, let me just zoom out. These consolidation candles also make up other patterns, right? So you'll see they make up patterns like a V bottom. When you zoom in, you'll see a V bottom pattern. You'll see there's lots of like consolidation weird candles. There's consolidation weird candles, consolidation weird candles. But look, its price is falling. It's going back up. Ideally, we'd love to see that happen right down here. We'd love to see a V bottom right here. This would be gorgeous. I hope so. I really hope so. That'd be awesome for everybody's sake if we get a V bottom. Well, as we zoom in over here, the consolidation candles, and you'll see there's other things. A V bottom also, guys, if you look, a V bottom is basically also like a cup pattern, right? And you'll see if you zoom in on these candlesticks, they're made up of a lot of indecision candles, right? These small little candles, right? Small little candles, they're all kind of mixed in there. So these are not just reversals at resistance and support levels on angular support and resistance. They all make up these other patterns, guys. And when you start to see this stuff, that's why we made these visuals of our wallpapers. When you start to see these 2 and 3 candlestick patterns, they go into the bigger patterns like bear flag. Like right here, you can say this is a 3 inside up pattern. You could also say it's a bear flag, right? Let's see if there's another but anyway, I don't want to go on a tangent. So these candlesticks make up into the bull flags, bear flags, pennant patterns, but then it goes into the cup and handles, the V bottoms, the head and shoulders, the inverse head and shoulders. They all build off of each other. But you have to understand the intention behind each thing. What is it trying to tell you? What is the story? What's the story it's trying to tell you? It's either trying to tell you a story of one of 3 things. Price action is bullish, it's bearish, or it's an indecision mode or reversal mode. When you bring it together, this stuff, again, it'll start to hit you the more you start to see this over time. But, you know, you can see, just kind of just showing you guys, if you're not familiar, right? You're seeing a cup. See, there's a consolidation at this base. It's kind of a cup, right? Cup pattern. And what do you got do right over here? Connect the peaks and the valleys. And you can, you know, that's not perfect, whatever. I'm just kind of ad-libbing. Anyways, that's an ad lib. But look, cup, handle down, price breaks out of the handle there. Where's the top of the cup? Right over here, right? Cup, consolidation up, reject, look, doji candle spinning tops right over here. Why is that happening? Because it's near resistance. What does it do? Pulls back down. And then what does it do? Again, kind of decides to go back up again. And then look, you could see basically another kind of cup pattern forming here, right? But as price breaks above the top of the cup over here, this is where you would basically go long. Or if you decided, some people like to go off the handle, you know, so that's where you can, and as you can see, guys, look, man, I got to show you this. As price breaks out of the top of the cup, look, the smaller indecision, smaller doji, smaller spinning top kind of candles, what is it doing? It's breaking resistance, then it's retesting support, and it's consolidating, right? It doesn't mean it's always going to reverse. It may consolidate. And it's retesting right here before it goes and takes off. And you can see price is above the moving average lines. Now you have a trend. But that's where you put these candlesticks together and they form bigger patterns, smaller patterns. You know, it's like patterns within a pattern. And as you can see, as I'm doing this, kind of just remove the drawing again. If you've been following along with like bull flags, you know, kind of like this. Picture almost a flag pull up, consolidation back down. You have a flag breakout. You almost have a massive bull flag or falling wedge pattern. before it breaks out within an overall bigger cup and handle. This big handle is basically like a big flag. Making sense, guys? We're going to go into some of the other ones right now. Whew. Stuff's exciting stuff when you really look at it. All right, let's get into it. Let's rock and roll. Facebook. Now that we've built off of it, let's go to Facebook. I did one for right over here. Let's go into day trading or intraday trading. These patterns all happen within the intraday. And you'll see, I like to show you some clean ones and also some messy ones right here. Here's a 1 minute chart of Facebook. Here's a morning star pattern, right? So you can see price, we just connect those, right? Connect the valleys again. Connect basically some peaks over here, right? Kind of over in here or even down kind of in here, almost a cup and handle-ish pattern. And here's the morning star. Here's where it doesn't, this is where I was saying, guys, that you don't necessarily, just because you see something doesn't mean you always trade it. What is your risk tolerance? You can see right here, this is hitting support and it's breaking out. This green bullish candlestick is a bigger candlestick. Do you want to risk on the break above this candle using a close below that as your stop? That's up to you. You can see it might be starting to go up and break out. If you're willing to, you might not use a full candle close below this as your stop. You might get in the break of this and decide, hey, over here, maybe I'll, if it starts to fail the trend line, maybe I won't let the full stop happen. The whole point being is this is a morning star that's breaking out of kind of basically part of angular resistance here. And then what does it do? It's hitting resistance from this right over here, which shows you this smaller star pattern. Now this should say, hey, warning, this is going to come down. Remember what I was telling you guys? Patterns don't always fail, or they don't always go the direction you think. This is a warning that price is going to fail. What did it do? It actually broke out. And then you had what? Right over here, guys. Spinning top, consolidation, doji. You can consider almost dojis and spinning tops and those types of things as part of the same family. They're either reversals or consolidation candles. Price breaks out, it's consolidating, what's it going to do? And then again, there's other patterns I'm not going to go into. It fails, and then what does it do? It retests resistance, price comes back down, retests its support, support, support. Right? So let me keep showing you guys some more of these patterns. So that's an example of one that's not really clean, right? Patterns are not always going to be clean. That's where me personally, I like the smaller patterns, smaller candlesticks. Like I like this. This is what I like. So here is an evening star pattern. This is a really beautiful looking evening star pattern. What's awesome about it is the star. I would have looked at it right at the star. Not there. Right? Put a line above the top of this doji spinning top candle. Right here. This is gorgeous right here. And you can see this is moving up. And you have this indecision because it's not breaking above this area over here. So you're like, okay, this may want to come back down. And then obviously, again, go through trend lines, stuff like that. But you may consider taking a short right off this star pattern. As price fails this spinning top red candle, candlestick close above that as your stop. Remember, stars turn into evening stars and morning stars many a times. So ideally, you'd like to get off that second candle, short it on the way down, and then look for reversals to cover. If you missed the star and you waited for the evening star, now you see, again, here's a perfect example. You would then kind of remove this drawing and you would have taken, this is what I personally don't like. I like kind of shorting off the stars, not necessarily the evening stars, but if you did and you waited, when price fell below this third candle, which is this one right here, you would take a short there using a candlestick close above that as your stop. Me personally, I don't like that as much because you can see it's bounced down like this. It could get trapped up in that wick. I don't like it. I like the cleanness of the reversals off these smaller candlesticks. See, it's far away from the moving average lines. Smaller candle to risk off. But, you know, that's where it shows you the warning that turned into an evening star. Price couldn't go and it couldn't break resistance. So it fell. And then support, resistance, patterns over and over and over and over and over again. And then what does it do over here? See, guys, I just left the line up. This line extends to the future. And what does it do over here? Oh, price went. You have consolidation candles right near previous resistance. And it's hitting those green dots, which is VWAP. And then the black dot or black line is 200 SMA intraday. Resistance levels. What happens at resistance, guys? And support levels. Super important. Consolidation, it's trapped right here between VWAP and the 200 SMA. It doesn't know what it's going to do. It's the tug of war in the bulls and the bears. Who won? Bears won, brought it back down, right? Kind of go back over here. What's going on in the future? Here's a morning star pattern. So here's another one where just because you see something or it's not perfect, it's not great, you know, just to kind of show you, bearish candlestick, kind of a hammer down here. Green candlestick over here. This is where I'm saying you don't necessarily always want to trade every pattern because, you know, if you got at the break of this green candle right over here, it's a bigger candle near resistance. What does it do? Smacks the moving average line, shooting starish right back down. So just because you see a morning star doesn't mean you trade it. You have to know the other patterns. That's, you know, what's involved. But if you caught it right over in here, you know, so if you caught it, you know, at the top of that red candle, you may have decided, oh, it's a hammer. I like smaller hammers, guys. Remember, I told you that's my preference. I like to see something like this, but in a different spot. I like smaller, like these types of ones. But if you took it off this intraday, you may have said, hey, I'm just going to scalp this hammer right back up to the moving average lines. And as you can see, what does this turn into? Remember, these candlesticks, what do? They all form other patterns. When you do these trend lines, what is that? It also turned, this is a morning star pattern that turned into a bear flag failure. Failed the bear flag. So you see how these patterns turn into other things? This morning star turned into a bear flag. Price rejected at resistance and then started failing moving average lines and failed the bear flag. Fell back down. What did it do? Right here, it retested support. Support resistance patterns over and over and over and over and over again. What is this one? This is a gorgeous looking evening star pattern. Love this one. This is beautiful. I would like to catch this one on the star for the short down. Perfect example. If you waited for the evening star and you waited to take the short on the evening. Look, right here, guys. Perfect. I didn't even move my lines. Look. Perfect. Here's perfect example of what happens in the past affects the future many of times. That line back in the past over here, that was way back over here. Look, all the way, where is it? Oh, going back all like from the beginning of the day. Look at that. See the consolidation right over here, guys? Look at rejection at the evening star. Look at that. That line, that horizontal line affects all the way over here. What happened? I didn't even plan this. I'm not shocked because I know this stuff happens all the time, but I'm glad because it's helping me in my presentation for you guys. But you can see, look, green bullish candlestick up. Nasty looking shooting star pattern. Warning, guys, warning. It's hitting previous close, those orange dots. Warning, price can't hold it. This is what I like to short. I like to, on this one, if I was doing an intraday short, I would take a short potentially below that red candle, look to cover down here at support levels, right? If you miss, that's the star pattern. Gorgeous star pattern. Really, really nice star pattern. If you missed that, then you got to decide, are you going to want to short? Remember, here's the evening star. You take a short below this candle as your entry, close above that as your stop. It's a little bit harder to do because now you're near those moving average lines and support levels. So that's why I'm saying You know, ideally, you like to catch those stars before it turns into a morning or an evening star, or depending where price action is. You can see this is a beautiful looking short right back down, right here. Look at how far that is away from the moving average lines. Short, look to cover right down here. Short here, cover here. Short here, cover here. And if you don't, look what happens right here. If you didn't cover here, price is moving back up. Now a candlestick closed above that. Now you're out. This is where you got to take profits along the way, guys. Super important. All right, let's get going here. Apple. Let's go up to Apple. AAPL. Where was this one I did? All right. So, this is not, that's not really an evening star pattern. I don't know why I put it on there. But just kind of like, let's just go with it, right? Because it's kind of like a green candle above, red candle below, reversal down. So this is where you could say, that's not an evening star. What is it? Is it an evening star? Is it tweezer tops? You know, you can look, remember tweezer tops, two equal tops, where you can say, well, here's a great learning lesson, guys. Well, that's, you know, this is where, well, I don't know. That's not really tweezer tops because those tops aren't equal. Well, guess what? It's a fake out, right? If it didn't break above this candle, it fell. What is it doing? It's still telling you the same story. Price is far away. It can't break resistance levels right here. Here's a peak. Here's a peak right over in here. It can't break it. What did it do? It turned into a head, left shoulder, right shoulder. It turned into a head and shoulders. Smacking resistance, falls back down. That's not really an evening star pattern. I don't know why I called that. I probably jumped the gun on that one. But it's still telling you the same story. Even though it's not evening star, tweezer tops, it's reversals. Price is hitting that wall at resistance or that ceiling. Indecision candles can't break above. What does it do? It wants to fall. And then you look down here and look at support levels. What does it do here? It consolidates, falls, consolidates, goes back up, consolidates. You can see that's kind of a cup pattern. This is basically a cup pattern. Cup, handle, right? Cup, handle, breaks out, forms another cup, doesn't break above that cup. All the stuff happens over and over and over, guys. It's so important. All right, let's look at Morningstar, right? Here is price is falling. Bearish candle. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. There we go. Bearish candle. Kind of a, again, what is that? Is it a hammer? Is it a spinning top? Don't go crazy with it, right? It's telling you the same story. Price is falling. A bullish candlestick right here. Buyers coming in. You know, this is where you would consider, ideally, you'd like to catch the star, ideally, before it turns into a morning star, right? Price falls. Maybe you'd risk off this hammer and then decide when you're going to take profits at resistance levels. You'll see, right? Indecision candles. Why is this happening? Well, price action, look, it's caught right here. Those green dots are previous close. This is the 9 and the 20 EMA. It's trading sideways, it's consolidating, and now it's, hey, this red candlestick, get out. But if you waited till the morning star happened, you would have gotten in right here. You'd wait for a candlestick entry or an entry to go long at the break above this green third morning star. It happened over here, and look, you got trapped. This is where I'm saying you don't trade something just because it's there. You have to be aware of all the other resistance and support levels. Perfect, right over here. Beautiful looking kind of star pattern right here. Star, which turned into morning star right here. So evening star. So you could take a short below this red candlestick, which would have been this one, all the way down. Again, still a bigger risk. You know, candlestick close above that as their stop if you'd like. Or, you know, you could have gotten in. This is a perfect example. It doesn't always have to be a red. Just because it's green doesn't mean it might not reverse, because it's telling you a story. It's hitting resistance. Here's a green kind of spinning top candlestick. So remember, we're talking spinning tops, dojis, telling you the same thing. This is telling you a very similar story to this one. Different real bodies, but it's telling you the same story. It's having trouble breaking that ceiling, right? It's having trouble. So if it's, you could decide to take a short below that candle right here, take a short down, use a candlestick close above your stop as a stop. You could also see this is also a double top right here. This top can't break and hold this top. It's a double top failure back down, right? So you could take a potential short, look to cover here. As it's going back up, here's another example of the evening star pattern. This is another beautiful star right here. This is where you would ideally take a short below this candle right here. But the problem is too, again, guys, I'm not a huge fan of huge wicks and shadows. I like smaller wicks and smaller shadows, personally, lower risk. This is basically a doji candle. You can call it long leg doji, or you can call it kind of a high wave candle. It's just whatever you want to call it, it's telling you the same decision. Bulls and the bears are fighting here right at resistance. And then it turned into what? An evening star pattern here when it failed. So maybe you'd consider taking a short off of this candle on the way down if you'd like. Again, personally, guys, I'm just trying to tell you, I like small risk. I like small candlestick risk. But that's an evening star, right? All right, next one I got for you guys. Let's look at a couple pennies. And I did not make my hour cut off. Of course. All right, AINV. You know what? Here's a perfect example. I want to show you a really beautiful looking morning star on this. But before I get to that morning star, because the morning star is on a 5-minute setup, here's a 1 minute. What's happening right here, guys? Consolidation. It's a cup pattern, right? Picture a cup. It's a cup that's consolidating, or you can say it's an inverse head and shoulders. Guys, an inverse head and shoulders many times is also a cup. You can see a head, a left shoulder, and a right shoulder. Or you can just draw a U like that. It's a cup or an inverse head and shoulders. Telling you the same story, right? It's not a V, but it's still, it's not a V. I don't want to go there, but I'm trying to tell you V's and cups look very similar. So you can see that's an inverse head and shoulders. It's a cup pattern potentially forming, looking to move and consolidate up. Look at all the smaller indecision candles, guys. It's kind of building a base. Doesn't mean it's just going to reverse. It may be consolidating and forming a base. But when I go right here to that 5-minute chart, this is gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful looking morning star patterns you'll ever see. This is perfection. And it doesn't always happen like this. Again, I'd argue it doesn't happen a lot like this, right? Fine, but guys, remember we try to say, trade the best setups. So important. This is an incredible setup. Beautiful looking hammer, gorgeous looking green hammer, right off of that 50 SMA intraday on a 5-minute setup. That is perfection. Perfection right here. You could risk off of that green hammer, go long here, and then now look, guys, breaks out. And then what do you have? This consolidate, now look, the candles are a lot bigger, right? Because now everybody's looking at it. Candles smaller back here, breaks out. Look what happens down here. Volume comes in. Volume came in right down here on this candle because you had this gorgeous looking morning star breakout. And then traders are going to take their profit. It's also end of day, right? Below a whole dollar amount of $10. Whole and half dollar amounts, very important support and resistance levels. But right here, ideally you'd love to get in off the hammer. But if you didn't, guys, I would take this morning star all day long by just getting in the break above that green candle right there, the third candle. Beautiful. This is a perfect morning star pattern right off the 50 SMA. Break above that green candle, candlestick close above this as your stop. Bam. You're day trading this, you get in at 927. If you wait it out here, you're kind of a fool to wait for it to fall down here. But even 927 to 960, that's still a 33-cent move. If you got it up here, this is another pattern. It's tweezer tops. Has a high, comes back down, forms another high, but it faked out. You probably want to get out right below $10 at the end of the day. Put it all together. You get in at this 927. You start to see it fail out here at 984. That's a whatever, I don't know, what, 50-something cent move. That's a gorgeous looking trade right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning star pattern. I can't show a better morning star pattern than that one. Gorgeous. But you'll see all, you know what? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Here's another really nice one. I didn't even look at this one. Let's just do it right now. Look, right here. Beautiful. Right here, another real beautiful morning star pattern. Gorgeous. Red bear flag, hammer. Gorgeous looking hammer. Look at that hammer. Beautiful right there. Boom. Entry off of this. Get out over here. More evening star. Over and over, guys. Look at so right here on the star, that's beautiful, but that's actually not even really a star. You could even say, is that a star pattern? Here's another perfect example, guys. Is that a star? Or is that a bullish harami? Or is that a piercing pattern? Let's go over here. Piercing pattern. Bullish candlestick piercing into the red candlestick. Look at these two. Very important. Pay attention, guys. Two candlestick pattern. This bullish one is piercing into this bearish one. Bullish harami. Smaller candle inside of that bearish candlestick pattern. What was the other one I was doing? Morning star pattern. They're telling you the same story, guys. They just look different. They're trying to tell you a story to go up, to go up, to go up. What is this? Is this a star? Is it a bullish harami? Or is it a piercing pattern? Who gives a crap? It's telling you the same thing. Hammer right off this 9 EMA. We want to go up. Whatever you want to call it, take an entry potentially right off this. Candlestick close below this as your stop. Or if you waited, it's okay. You still had another shot right here. That's your morning star entry here. Candlestick close below that as your stop. What does it do? Doji, star pattern, spinning top, doji, star pattern, whatever you want to call it. It's not going above this level over here. And what did it do? It turned into a evening star. Doesn't mean it's going to crash and tank. What did it do? It consolidated, guys. It consolidated. So just because there's a reversal doesn't mean it's going to crash. It came back to the moving average line, this 9 EMA, consolidated, and then what did you do? You had a breakout. And what did it do? It turned into basically kind of a star pattern. It's not a perfect star pattern, but guys, right? Not everything's perfect. What is this telling you? Is that a star? Is that a bearish harami? Right? Go back over here. Is that a evening star or a star pattern that's going to reverse down? Or is it a bearish harami? Or is it a, where's the other one? Do I have it on here? Dark cloud cover, right? Kind of telling you the same thing, right? It's covering it. Perfect. Great lesson. Really great lesson. Is that a dark cloud cover? Is it a bearish harami? Or is it a star pattern? This candle is covering part of this green candle. So you can call that a dark cloud cover. So maybe that's, you want to call it a dark cloud cover. It could be kind of but it could also be a bearish harami. It's kind of also encapsulated inside of this green candle. But it doesn't matter. It's telling you the same story. It's so important, guys. It's saying, warning, we're going to reverse because why? Or potentially going to reverse because price can't hold this resistance. It comes back down. So important. Man, that was good. See what happens when you start learning these candle patterns, guys, that you'll see this stuff in your sleep, So I wasn't even seeing that one until I just looked, right over here. So there you go. There's, just kind of reset the charts, go over here. Morning star, evening star, basically an evening star. Morning star right here. Morning star, and didn't do much of anything. Morning star, and then garbage. All right, two more I got. let's just finish this off. All right, cool. We're going to do it less than an hour and a half. AGS. All right, perfect example. So this is not really, you know, it's telling you the same story, but it's maybe not perfect. Green candlestick up, consolidation. You can see there's a kind of a gravestone doji or a hanging man candle. This candle fell, or there's the third candle. You would take a short potentially below that as your short, or close below this as your short. Candlestick close above as your stop. Consider consolidating here, but you also got to be risky because it also can turn into a flag, right? Just want to show you the pattern that, you know, just be aware of it. Morning Star right here. Beautiful, or red candlestick, kind of a indecision candlestick right here, right off the 9 EMA, right here. So you could have, now just be aware it's end of day. Got to be careful, you know. Candlestick close, you know, 3 candlestick pattern right here. Candlestick entry above that as your long. Candlestick close below this as your stop. And then maybe you took this into end of day and you got out over here. So what is that? 265 to 273. 8-cent move. Whatever, it's day trading, you know what I mean? You get 10 cents. That's what you're not scalping with day trading. You're not scalping 50-cent moves all day long with penny stocks. You're scalping your 10, 15, 20 cents. But you also got to be careful. Again, this is a different story. It's at end of day, so you got to be very careful. Last one, let's go to our good old trusty ACB, Canadian pot stock. Bunch of garbaccio. Everybody loved it. It's dumped like crazy. It's now a penny stock. But here's an evening star pattern. Kind of moves up. If I zoom in, where is it? Right here. Bullish candlestick up, a little indecision candle up there. Boom, right here. So this is where, guys, here's a perfect example. Here was high a day. Below a dollar, whole and half dollar is very important, especially with those penny stocks, right? If it's below a dollar, resistance. Co-equal highs, tweezer tops, boom, right back down. Forms a cup pattern. You see the consolidation here, goes back up. Tiny little indecision kind of doji-ish candle. Why do you see that? Because this can't break this indecision. So this is where you could say, okay, I'm going to take a short off that tiny little candle and then decide where I'm going to cover down here. But if you waited to the morning, to the evening star pattern formed, you would take a short below this candlestick close above your stop. Again, hindsight's 20/20, right? So I don't think I would take a short off this. I'd take a short off that one, not off this one. That's why I'm saying, just because you see the pattern doesn't mean you take it. Right here, here's a morning star. Basically right here, 2 candles, smaller kind of indecision spinning top. Morning star over here. Doesn't mean you trade it. It's hitting resistance. But stars, if you catch the stars, which we went into yesterday, how to trade the single reversal candlesticks, stars give you the warnings into morning stars and to evening stars. And also, again, the other things, you know, like engulfing pattern or dark cloud cover or stuff like that. Here's a beautiful looking morning star pattern right here. Price failed support. Look at that tiny looking candlestick. If you got in above that candlestick, close below this as your stop, then maybe you say, oh, look, hey, it's failing this 20 EMA. I'm out. This is probably not a great move. 88, 89 cents. And you're out. Yeah, you didn't make much money. But look, guys, you know, if you got in the right here, so you're, it didn't go where I wanted to do. Okay, I took a tiny profit or I broke even. You know, you're not going to win in every trade, guys. It's the stock market. That's where you have to manage your risks. Small candlesticks, reversals, trend lines, all that good stuff. Very important. All right, so I think I'm officially done. Wow, not as good as I wanted, but let's take a look at any of your questions. That was a rant. All right. What do you guys got here? The previous. So where do I draw my exit? Well, that's where you got to look at the other support and resistance levels, right, guys? That's the whole key. This is only, I'm trying to break these things down. That's where I want to kind of draw your attention, break these videos down. Draw your attention to these other videos. I'm going to put the links below in this video when I post it on YouTube. I'll put the links back over to the how to trade bull flags and bear flags, how to draw support and resistance levels. This is going to be very important for you to learn on when to enter and exit. Trend lines are everything in support and resistance. But remember, you can't train trend lines and support and resistance levels without candlesticks, you know? Or some people will still use bar charts and stuff like that, but candlesticks is the new way to do it. Or the newer way to do it. And then you'll see right here, there was the how to trade single reversal candles. So this kind of led you up. This video led you up to today's video, which is on star pattern, or, you know, morning and evening stars. But what I kind of showed you yesterday on single reversals is what led up to this video. But again, kind of drawing your attention back over to here, you're going to see when you start looking at this stuff, it's going to pop out at you that many of these things are telling you the same story. They're telling, like even here, just as I'm looking at it, tweezer bottoms. That's kind of a bullish harami-ish. It's not perfect. You can see this is almost inside of this one. It's not perfect. I'm just kind of giving an example of it. It's kind of telling you a similar story, right? You know, the dark cloud cover, these two over here, it's telling you the same similar story as the bearish harami. You know? Pretty cool, guys. Yeah, so up on YouTube, but I'm gonna so yeah, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel right over here, Bullish Bears. We'll post all this stuff here, and I'm actually putting the links to each of these videos under each of these over here. And if you're under, we're probably gonna make these next level content only videos at some point. So for those that are yearly members, when you're logged in, there'll be a members only section over here, and you'll see next level content. I have it behind over there already. So if you're a next level yearly member, just go to the candlestick section or the technical section. You'll see the videos for what I just showed you guys. The ones I just did over there. They're longer videos, guys, I know, but listen, I'd rather make them long and give you what you're looking for rather than, I mean, people are they're gonna price gouge you other places. We try to make things economical. You know, we're a business like anybody else. You know, we're not free, but you know, we try to make it as economical and affordable as possible for everybody. And going back again to our website, bullishbears.com, just sign up for free here. If you're on a budget, obviously a lot's going now. People, it's not funny, but like it's a lot going on. People are having some rough times nowadays. So now what a perfect time. If you don't have money to invest or whatever right now, now's the perfect time to learn. You know, I mean, we have $3,000 worth of courses. You can get started here. All our courses over here. We have an ebook, all the reversal, you know, patterns and courses and all that kind of stuff in there. Take the next few months and learn, right? Learn and then practice and then trade with real money. But candlesticks, this ain't going to happen overnight, guys. I wish I could, you know, sell you some pipe dream that this is going to hit you overnight. It's not. It's going to take months, if not a year plus. The more you study it, the more charts you study, you look at hundreds, you look at thousands of charts, the stuff will start to pop out at you, but it takes time. So much help offered. It's awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Reasonable price. Love it. Awesome. You signed up a year ago or 2 ago. You lost it and forgot about it. Thanks so much. Cool. We'll come back. Hopefully you'll join us. Check out the vids. There's also people that can help. Yeah, our chat room, guys. We have a chat room all day long. I mean, this is, guys, we have awesome mods in our room. There's, well, Tim, Dan, and I are the owners, but there's Angel, there's Creed, there's Rose, there's Mike. I didn't forget anybody, right? I don't think I did. Right here, you just join our day trade, and you know, basically we do day trading, swing trading, and futures. You know, from 9 to 11. All different. Everybody has different trading style, but from 9 to 11 and 2 to 4 all day long, Monday through Friday. People are just trying to teach and help you guys all this stuff. You know. Sig was awesome yesterday talking about TOS. Love it. Yep. I've managed to lose more money than I can think about. I held out for almost a year, then I got in. I regret it. Paper trade, yep. Paper trading is key. Absolutely. Let me go back up and see. Do I place a higher value on a bullish pattern above the MAs versus below? That is a magical question. Nick, that's a magical, very good question, right? That's a matter of your preference, right? I like to see confirmation off of support levels, but if you catch, so if you catch it as it breaks above moving average line, pulls back, turns into a flag, I like those a lot. But if you catch those reversals at the angular, let's see if there's an example of one I can show you. Yeah, okay, here's actually a perfect example of probably what Nick is referring to. Do I like to catch it as it's down here or as it's over here? I mean, it's hindsight's 2020, right? That's a beautiful pattern. I would take this one all day long. I still really like myself though. Like what I'm most comfortable with. I still personally like this, or kind of like that, right? Like that flag, that bull flag. I love that because it's testing support and it's holding. So I personally really like the small candlesticks off of support, small risk. It's retesting. I like it. So something like this, here's a perfect example. Who the heck knows was going back on in news and stuff that day. Now, again, here's the thing. You get an early entry, you can decide this is where it gives you luxury. If you get an entry over here and you take it, you still have a little bit of luxury right here. Even this is kind of giving you that indecision of, hey, am I going to stay in or out? You got a good entry, unless the thing dumps, like this, then it might be more difficult. But, I still like this, guys. I love bull flags and bear flags that break out and just riding a trend. That's my style. I like it. You might not like my style. That's what I like. I like bull flags, bear flags. That video I did teaching you guys on how to trade it and then get out as you get right here. Kind of bringing it back to it. Breaks out of this bull flag. And then I'm out over here. I'm definitely out on this candle. But guys, like as you guys know me by now, I'm taking profits along the way. Like I'm getting, as it breaks out, I might consider taking profits out here, looking for entry here. I probably would have took my profits here. Because again, I'm not in it kind of long term. I like trade. We do so much stuff with bullish bears. We're kind of we run this stuff all ourselves, guys. We don't have some huge bunch of people doing all this. We do all this stuff. We do all our own blogging and videos and all that stuff. So, and teaching you guys and yada yada. You say I think we have over 1,000 videos out there, and I don't even know how many we got now. But the whole team's making videos and helping out and all that stuff. So me personally, like I said, I don't have. If I didn't have, it wasn't doing bullish bears and wasn't concentrating. I was, didn't have the distractions. I probably would stay in longer and stuff, but. As of right now, I like short term, taking my profits, looking for entries, take my profits, look for entries, take my profits. That's kind of how I am. I'm a scalper trader and stuff like that. And it's just, again, because, guys, because I don't trust, I don't want to go on a rant right now, but, you got to pay attention to what's going on. You know what I mean? So what I have been so my style, let me get over, right here. I'll get in and let me ride the 9. Let me not pay attention, get distracted, yada, yada. And you miss something's going on in your life for a couple of days and then at this, you know what I mean? So now again, if you're paying attention, you would have had a warning sign over here. But again, that's just, I don't want to go on my rants. So where do we draw the exit? That was when I showed you guys with trend lines. When you break a trend, you know what I mean? So kind of you could use that close below the 9 right here. You could get out. You can get out. Or you could just draw your trend lines you know, oh, price is breaking the trend. Maybe I'll get out, you know, kind of what I showed you guys in our trend line video. Right up over in here. What would I do here? Connect the peaks and the valleys. Would I personally go long here? In general, no, because it's at resistance. But if it breaks out, maybe I would. And I would look right here. What if I got in? If you're wondering what I would do, if this thing breaks out to the long side, I would consider getting in a break above this candle, and then I would look to potentially get out if price doesn't clear the 50 or the 200 SMA. Or I might stay in if it retests and hold. The problem is, guys, it's nuts nowadays. This is not normal. This is not normal stuff. This is not, oh, do a normal market. This is Fed stuff and election stuff and coronavirus stuff. So I would pay attention if it hits those levels, and then what happens over here. You know, is it going to hit these, come back, and go up? I sure the heck hope so. I hope this thing flies. But just remember, guys, when we get back up here again someday, over in the future, right? If you start seeing these types of candlesticks, all I got to do is just kind of wrap it up like I showed you on yesterday's video. Here's resistance. Here's some resistance over in here. Here's this channel. If price starts to move up here someday and yada yada and goes up to here again, in these areas right here, if you start seeing this action, that's terrifying potentially. I wouldn't be buying probably there. At that point, my strategy would be I'm waiting for it to, unless I got early entries down here and I'm holding, then I have the luxury. If I got in and had my earlier entries, sure, maybe I can stay in a little bit longer. But the problem is stuff like this, like that's fallen. These are nasty looking candles. This could fall in a heartbeat if we nail a double top. So I would consider probably taking long again. If everything comes up, we start seeing, you know, price break above, and then I'd like to see nice little flags or something like this above resistance. That's when I would like to really feel comfortable. Is you start getting some of these smaller candlesticks holding support, moving average lines cross, pushing price up, and then we just go back into the sunset. If that makes sense. If we start failing these levels down here as we get up into these levels, then I'm going to be like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? But when is that going to happen? We'll have to watch and see, right? Price moves up, comes back. What's it going to do? This is what I like to tell you guys. You know, when people say, don't worry, the market's going to go back up again, that load of crap, sure, it will, but when? You know? It's not fun losing money in general, guys, but if you have your wealth and your retirement wrapped up and you got to wait 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years to get it back to where it was again, sure, you can buy in these levels and build it back up. It's still going to take a while to get back to the level where you were. That's painful. Not fun. All right. I like to do mental stops. I don't put them into the system, but I put if I'm doing my support and resistance levels, I'm putting them at, you know, kind of basically what we're teaching you in the ebooks and what we do on the wallpapers. But I actually have them even tighter than this. I don't let my stops go for too long. I do mental stops, so I see it and then I pull the trigger. I don't like to put it into the system and let the market makers trigger it, even though they say they don't do it. Sure. Okay. All right, guys. I'm officially under an hour and a half. I'm going to stop it, and I will see you all later. I'm going to do more videos. Probably I'll do Haramis or something next, or I don't know which one I'll do, but hopefully this helped you guys, and I'll see you all later. Enjoy.